to Pharmacy View podcast, where we provide regular interviews with pharmacists and key people within the Australian pharmacy and associated industry. In this stream of podcast episodes, we discuss aspects of technology or business operation and how each area interacts with guests' current role or pharmacy-related business. I'm your host, Scott Carpenter, and my guest today is proudly brought to you by Shopfront Solutions for all your digital, shelf and marketing needs, part of the Arian Technologies Group. My guest today is Sarah Rendell, Head of Marketing and Communications at Peak Strategies. Welcome, Sarah.
Hello, thanks Scott for having me.
That is my pleasure. Now, we've never met, but we have connected through the wonders of technology, and I look forward to one day actually catching up with you in person. Many of our listeners may know you from the work that you do with Peak Strategies, but for anyone who doesn't know you that is listening today, who is Sarah Rendell?
Who is Sarah Rendell? Well, I'm a first-time mum. I had a baby boy earlier this year, so that, of course, I had to mention that, 2 seconds into the podcast. So very proud of my little man, Harry. I'm a lover of all things social media. One of my biggest claims to fame when I talk to anyone is how I planned my whole wedding just using Instagram for research. Outside of work, I'm a big reader, and I just love to just spend as much time as possible with the fam. And yeah, that's like a quick nutshell about me. And I love to chat.
And
I'm
that's
a very
fine.
chatty Cathy. Yeah.
And that's great. And look, one of the things I look forward to in our chat today is talking to you about the use of social media from a business perspective, and both the challenges around delivering that in a business perspective. But for now, you're part of the Peak Strategies business. So talk to us a bit about Peak Strategies. Again, some people will know this, particularly in the Western Australian market. Yes. I certainly am aware of it through my interactions within the pharmacy industry and people that you're involved with. But for anyone, again, listening today, who is Peak Strategies and what do you do in the pharmacy market?
So Peak Strategies, it's led by our director, John Bonnet. So we've been in the pharmacy industry for 10 plus years, even long. He's been in the industry for even longer, but Peak itself has been over 10 years old. We started off as an accounting firm, so offering pharmacy valuations and pretty much the whole accounting suite for pharmacy. So we realised how much impact we could have within just working within pharmacy, and that is why we're very pharmacised. And since I've come on board over 5 years, 6 years ago, we have actually evolved our service offering to include a lot of consulting. So I like to say, yes, we are an accounting firm, but we're actually more a business consulting firm now, and we offer marketing consulting. We offer business and financial consulting, as well as the typical bookkeeping, pharmacy valuations, and tax and compliance. So we are based in Perth, but we service pharmacies all across Australia for a variety of reasons. And my biggest claim to fame and what I'm most passionate about within Peak Strategies and what we do is just helping mums and dads, aunties, uncles, these pharmacy owners have a meaningful business that they're passionate about and that they're seeing results from. So whether that be the financial accounting and bookkeeping side of things or the marketing. So yeah, that's Peak. Yeah, it's my family, Peak family.
That's it. And again, I'll make sure, as I always do, include in the show notes attached to this podcast all of your contact points from both the website through to LinkedIn, through to personal contacts. So it's more a case of you've been within the pharmacy industry for some point in time. Mm-hmm. You're reasonably well known for quite a few accounts. And if I could suggest is that in terms of giving financial guidance and advice and potentially business planning, as I've discovered over many, many years, is it gets to this point where in time where you've got to promote your business. And so Peak Strategies have engaged yourself and your services to actually help their financial account holders with that side of the business. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so initially I came on to help with the internal part of Peak, the internal marketing, so us pushing because we were really focusing on the niche of pharmacy. And as a result, it's evolved to now taking my skill set and helping our clients as well. So it's become a fully fledged service where I work in really closely with our CAs, so our chartered accountants. And so they work on the business and the financial and all the numbers stuff, which is not my jam. I work on the marketing and comms and relationship building with their target audiences.
From that perspective. Yeah. And look, I'm potentially coming towards the end of what has been a really good career in pharmacy and have enjoyed every minute of it. So I've seen huge transitions towards the technology space. I've had the opportunity in the last potentially 10 years to work with some really good marketing people. Mm-hmm. With a couple of different brands that have coached, trained, and even mentored me potentially without them realising, about transitioning to this new world. So if there's anyone listening today that's kind of really struggling from, hey, I used to, put an ad in the local paper, which actually doesn't exist anymore. I kind of know that I've got to be in this social media space, but it's a bit confusing for me. It's been great for me, I guess, to work from people from that perspective. But I guess talk to us a bit about what it is that you do, what you've been trained and learned about, and I guess give our listeners some guidance about some of the things that they should be looking for. Look, ultimately, potentially to pick up the phone or send you an email through the business to say, hey, I think I need your help. So you may actually get inundated with work that you mightn't have been looking for. But alternatively, if it's not so much, contacting you, how does someone go about finding someone like you in their area?
Yes, so essentially we work with pretty much helping people build a digital strategy as well as actually scratch that, just an overall marketing plan. So digital is just one channel that you use. But to have a successful pharmacy, you still have to have those traditional forms of marketing, but then you also need the digital channels as well. So we work with creating an all-encompassing plan. So the best thing is that I can recommend for your marketing is to have consultants help you and guide you, but also you have a hands-on overseeing of what is going on, because you're going to know the most about your customers and your patients that are entering your pharmacy. And not only that, is all of your marketing strategy needs to impact and be very similar to what you're already doing at store level, and that is because of patient and customer experience. So what you're marketing is pretty much what you're doing, because you could have a beautiful website and a beautiful social media page, but then when they walk into the pharmacy, the actual experience is completely different. So when I engage or speak to a new potential client or someone that's interested to look into their marketing, I really need to understand the nuts and bolts of their pharmacy and let them know that this is going to be a collective and a collaborative type of mission. And also it's a lot more simplified than you actually think, because you're already marketing day in, day out, working when you're in the pharmacy, because it's customer service just in a different way in a digital space or outside the four walls of your pharmacy. So pretty much what I think marketing is driving traffic from outside those four walls. No longer can we put up a open sign and just expect traffic to come in. Let's think of ways to showcase why you are the pharmacist for them to come visit. So I kind of answered your question. I also went on a tangent, but the biggest thing is when you're looking to to engage with marketing, you need someone that understands the industry and understands business to consumer marketing. So that means that working with a business, talking to customers, not business to business. And secondly, you need to understand that this is not something that you can handball off to an agency and expect results, that it is always going to be a hands-on job for yourself, but you hire people to help you with the stuff that you have gaps in your knowledge.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I just jotted down a couple of notes as you were talking there, because I think there was a couple of key points in that. And sometimes as business owners, we fall into these traps. We're so busy doing, and particularly pharmacists, your specialisation is healthcare, not necessarily business management or marketing, which is why you engage the services of a peak strategy. But what I heard you say was that don't go and find someone to create a marketing program for you. Engage a partner to work with you to create the marketing program for your business. That's what I think I heard you say. Is that correct?
That is exactly what you summarized that perfectly. So we have this mentality at Peak is when you join with us, you're a part of our peak family. And that is because it's a two-way communication. You need to collaborate. It's not something that someone can go and do for you. You're the person that knows your customers and your business the best. And also with pharmacy, it's such a broad, like, there is so much you can do. So you really need to make sure that the strategy that they're coming up with aligns with, number one, what your customers are wanting and what they see value in, and number two, what you're passionate about. So you would hate for an agency to go and spend a lot of money on creating this marketing strategy, but then they're pushing a service that you do not see is in your kind of like your wheelhouse or something that you want to focus on. So it's really important that you kind of sit there and brainstorm and bounce ideas, and they're kind of the implementers for you, or will train your staff as well. That's definitely how I see it working the best.
Yes. So again, another little tangent in that same arena might be, don't go and find someone to run your social media programs for your pharmacy that actually doesn't understand what it is your pharmacy does, because it's easy to post on social media.
Yes.
But it could actually be quite dangerous to have someone do that and post something up that might actually break a state or federal law.
Of course.
Potentially.
Yeah, definitely.
Might actually promote something, as you said, within your business that when a customer then comes in, you actually haven't got, which, is not a great outcome.
Yes.
And or thirdly, put out a message about the team that actually, again, necessarily can't be delivered on a particular day. So I think there's some really good learnings. And we're going to come around to the use of technology in this whole arena. But I think it was just really important, as you started this conversation, to understand that digital marketing is only a component. It's not the only thing that you've got to do. It's got to be a marketing plan, as I understand it, all the way from what the front of your shop pharmacy looks like to how your team are trained, how your team potentially are dressed and portrayed, what signage is in your pharmacy. And I'll give you quite a good example of it if I can. Obviously, Pharmacy View is part of a technology company that deals in digital technology, including digital signage. And my pharmacy, who I follow on, the social media, Instagram and Facebook pages, I went in to pick up my script one day and I said exactly what you were talking about before. I said, hey, I saw this on your Instagram, but I actually can't find it here in your pharmacy. And the response I kind of got was that, we can get that for you, or we do that. And I said, well, again, you can hate me for saying this, but why put something out there in social media that isn't replicated while I'm here waiting for my script? And so what we ended up doing was putting some digital screens in above the dispensary that actually replicated what was on their social media. So you're telling me about it on my smartphone. You're telling me about it when I'm scrolling through Facebook. But more importantly now is that while I'm standing there waiting those couple of minutes for my script, you're reinforcing it to me. So again, it might actually prompt me to do something about it. And I think that was the important message here from the social media point of view. It's got to be all-encompassing, not just a part of it, correct?
Yes, definitely. And you made a really good, valid point about your team. Your team, if you're going to take away anything from this chat today, your team is your number one marketing asset. And that is because they're the ones that build the relationship with your patients and customers. So you need to ensure that they're not only, on the social media and a photo, they're engaged in whatever marketing strategy. Marketing includes events, webinars, whatever type of strategy that you have in place, or what channel you're using for your pharmacy's marketing plan. It needs to be in alignment with your team, and you need to have them on board. And once you start having a brainstorm with your team, they would have so many ideas as well, because they're the ones, the retail managers are the ones that are ordering in the stock. The pharmacists are the ones that are doing this, the services day in, day out, helping Mrs. Smith, with her meds reviews and all of these different types of things. So it's really important that your team is engaged with whatever you do, both digital and traditional, any marketing.
From that perspective. Okay. So, and again, obviously, this is why Peak Strategies have employed you or brought you on as part of the family. Is the right term I should be using here. Was as you and John and the team were giving financial guidance and advice, this became part of the business plan growing and moving forward. And even through what I call now the unprecedented years, digital communication became even more important because there was a 2-year period, well, maybe not quite in Western Australia, but certainly here on the Eastern Seaboard, where it was very difficult to get out of your house. And so you became very reliant on digital communications. And that's, I guess, let's chat about that, because you look after marketing and communications. Mm-hmm. So what's your guidance and advice and, to pharmacy industry owners, listening to us today around what's the best way to take this marketing plan and communicate it? Is there traps for young players? Is there things that work well? Again, without giving away all of your trade secrets, because ultimately you want someone to kind of ring you up and say, hey, can you help me?
Yes.
But what would they look for?
So where to begin? So digital communication, it's just so important. Most purchasing decisions now are made before somebody steps foot into your pharmacy. Let's just pick on myself. My baby has nappy rash. I'm already making the decision at home that, okay, I need to jump into the pharmacy and go get go pick up some cream for him. In that time, I might have Googled something and say my local pharmacy wrote a blog about how to treat nappy rash, and it comes up on digital. Okay, I'm going to that pharmacy. Even if it was a suburb over, I'd be willing to go there because I have trust, because I know what they're talking about when it comes to nappy rash. So it's really, really important to have some form of digital presence, whether that be a social media channel, email marketing, Google, having a website. And this is also another layer of that is having a local marketing strategy. So there is our banner groups are amazing and they're exceptional. And I always say, from a marketing perspective, they are your supporting act band and you're the headliner, because you need to build the relationships with your target audience, so the people in your local area or the audience that are being looked after by you. So it's really important that you have a local strategy and think of at least 2 channels from a digital perspective that you are going to focus on. You don't need to be on every single channel. That's just, time is money. But think of 2 channels and really think of think of 2 channels, but also think of the channel that is going to reach your target audience, so your customers the best. So whether that be Instagram or Facebook or email marketing or having a website, being on a Facebook group, LinkedIn, if you're a CBD, like in the city district for pharmacy. So really, that would be my biggest place to start, is think of 2 digital channels and then create a content calendar of how you're going to consistently communicate with them. At least, this is my trade secret, at least 3 times a week. Yes, on the
So can we just chat a little bit about that? Because again, a couple of things popped to mind then. Customizing your marketing and communication to your local audience is really important, is what I think I heard.
So important.
And I know this is going to digress a little bit, but I had a little incident here at home. I decided a couple of years ago to have a garage sale, because it was empty nesters now, and I've just got to get rid of a whole lot of the boys' old stuff and get it out. And I donated some stuff to the local charity, but I thought, let's run a garage sale. Now, unbeknownst to me, at the same time, another neighbour ran a garage sale on the same day. I went with the digital strategy because I've progressed. I understand that. So the local Facebook groups, etc., etc. I found out during the day, because a whole lot of people were pulling up at my garage sale on my front door. Okay, this is retail. Mm-hmm. And they were saying, oh, you advertised such and such and such and such. And I said, no, that wasn't me. Where did you see the ad? And they said, oh, it was in the local paper. And it was quite interesting, because I think between the 2 of us, I'm sure I had more people pull up to my garage sale that saw the local paper garage sale ad than my digital strategy. But then I'm in probably a semi-rural, probably a lot older people that still read the paper, and the fact that we still get the paper. But I think it was a good example as to what you're saying then. Is that you don't have to be in every medium, but it's actually really important to be in the right medium, isn't it?
Oh, so important. So really selecting, because essentially, as we know, the pharmacy can get busy between doing rosters, stock ordering, definitely at the moment, staff calling in sick. You really, when you're taking time away from the working on the business, not in the business, it needs to be meaningful. So I would never say just be on the channel for being on the channel for the sake of being on it. You need to make sure that you are reaching your desired audience. with whatever channel you choose.
Yeah, and potentially if your location still has a local community paper, don't not consider that, because there would be a target audience, potentially the older generation, the baby boomers, etc., that potentially still sit there and flick through the local paper when it comes in.
Yeah, definitely. And I've worked with clients where, we have a mixed audience of, say, young families, but then we also have, retirees and senior population, and we use the channels of, community groups and things like looking at the local RSL club and working on a communications plan for that, but then also jumping on Facebook and doing consistent posts. So really tailoring your plan to add value to your audience and for them to reach you.
Yeah. So if you were building a marketing plan with a pharmacy, how far out ahead would you be talking in terms of plans and actions?
I would do it I do a 12-month plan. Yeah. Marketing is a slow burn. Marketing thrives off consistency. So not doing one ad in the local paper or posting one reel on Instagram is going to get instant traffic. You need to build that repetition. For example, it takes 10 touch points to recognize a brand. So when you're thinking about that, you need at least 12 months before you will start seeing tangible results. But once you do, it's well worth it. So definitely 12 months. You've got to put that level of consistency in.
And so in effect, if you were looking from a business planning perspective, someone might be currently operating if we talk financial year, the FY23 marketing plan, but you would be coming up to Christmas, you would be starting to talk to them about building next year's FY24 marketing plan, because you don't want to get to July and all of a sudden, June, and say, okay, what are we doing in July? You would really be starting to talk about that now. That's what I would understand.
Yes, and we have a short course that any of our clients, when onboarding for marketing, we get them on, just so that, for the people that are because it is nerve-wracking if you haven't been engaged in marketing, like you said before, Scott. It's not something that's taught at uni when you're doing your pharmacy degree. So we have this short course, 3-month course, where it helps you with the steps of creating your marketing plan. So then when we go and you have these consulting sessions with us, you already kind of got a bit of brainstorming ideas, and then now we can really help you with the implementation. So starting that now. I know that we're just entering Christmas, which is a bit busy, but January does seem to slow down within the pharmacy. That's when I'd be jumping on doing that short course and then getting ready for the new financial year. But you can start as well at the same time.
Yeah. And you mentioned there before about the value and benefit of being part of the groups. I guess depending on the pharmacy, group banners and groups provide a level of consistency around marketing and advertising. But do you also work with the pharmacy then that they should have their own localized one as well?
Yep. So always utilize the tools that your banner group gives you in terms of marketing. So they sometimes have social images. They have some really great around service offering and all of that. And a lot of it's on the cloud back end. You can sign in, grab that, utilize that, and pick up the phone and speak to your marketing team. They would have so many ideas. But yes, you need a localized plan, because you need to promote, like I said before, your team is your number one asset. We want them to go to your pharmacy. So we want them to step and foot to your pharmacy. You will get, and you've also got that trust from your banner group, from the branding that they've done from some customers, but you want them to be coming to see Sarah, the pharmacist, or, Sarah's team. So yes, definitely a localized plan. And that's where you can use digital communications in particular, especially social media, to build that local identity for yourself.
Yeah. And if I can then, that I think leads nicely into the next level. You've engaged Sarah, you've built a marketing plan, or you're currently operating the current marketing plan. You're looking or discussing building next year's marketing plan. You've got your communication. So you've got your key focus points. This is what our pharmacy does really, really well. This is what we want to actually communicate out to the marketplace. And we now get into the next level, and that is that your age demographics, and even me, I'm sitting here on a laptop today, but this is probably one of the rare times that I use a laptop, because I've transitioned now to a smartphone. So from a pharmacy owner management team perspective, you've not only got to build the marketing plan, you've not only got to understand which channels to go to, but you've actually then got to tailor your message to where your audience is. Now, again, is that the computer these days? Is it the tablet, iPad? Is it the smartphone? And it's not necessarily age specific anymore, because my 93-year-old father is probably just as good at using a smartphone as myself and his grandchildren these days. So what's your advice around that arena?
Oh, everything's mobile, like has to be mobile responsive. So your smartphones, and that's the beauty of social media, is you're tailoring. Majority of that is, all of it is designed for smartphones. So, and you're completely right. Like my grandma-in-law, to my husband's grandma, she does her internet banking and sends all our birthday money via there now. She's so onto it. Oh, my watch just went off. But yes, so it's definitely very important to make sure anything you do is mobile responsive, and especially your website as well. If you are going to invest the money into your website, you need to make sure that it's looking good when you look at it on your phone, probably more than when you look at it on a computer. I think because pharmacists are in front of a computer a lot of the day, it is it makes sense for you to make sure that everything looks good on the computer. But if you're looking at the general public, majority is all smartphones. And iPad as well. Yeah, iPad's a big one.
And look, again, be interested in your take on this. So we've had an extra long weekend here in Victoria or Melbourne with the Melbourne Cup on the Tuesday, and everyone takes the Monday off. And so the weather here wasn't great, but a few of us, managed to get away. It was too wet to cook. It was too wet to kind of get outdoors, but we decided to go to the pub. So more often than not, if I was looking for something, I would either ask Google where's the best place to eat nearby, or I would actually go on to Facebook and say, type in the location and see what comes up. And I have to admit that it's probably the first time that I realised, but again, my head's in the technology space, so I guess I'm already a convert to a point. But how important it is these days that the Facebook page is actually up to date. So Instagram's a messenger service, not a business page, whereas Facebook's very much more a page. So I was actually able to go and say, so where are you located? How do I get there? What are your trading hours? What's your contact point? If it was a pub bistro, for example, can I actually have a look at your menu before I get there? Now, I'm talking a pub here, but the reality is that there's some really, really good pharmacy Facebook pages, business pages out there as well. So again, just another level of complexity. And we're possibly in this conversation got some pharmacists listening saying, how do I do all of this? Well, again, apart from ringing Sarah, you utilize your team as such, don't you? So firstly, how important is it to make sure your Facebook page is correct? Secondly, you can't do all of this on your own. So how does your team become involved in this?
Yeah. So firstly, yes, definitely. If you're going to be on any channel, you have to make sure you have consistency. And when I say consistency, this is on a weekly basis. So I know that's already raising some alarm bells for people in terms of time, which falls nicely into getting your team engaged. There is, like anything, if you organize and create systems, you can create expectations for your team to get involved with content creation. So of course, as the owner, you need to oversee the marketing plan and have your finger on the pulse, knowing what's going out. However, you don't have to be the one implementing. And that's where you would get someone to help you consult your team and train them. So when I was talking earlier before about that marketing module that we do, that's also 9 times out of 10, we encourage the manager to sit and work with a team member on completing that, because that includes how to do certain things. And then the team gets involved in the content creation. And also the beauty of social media and technology is there's so many scheduling platforms that you can use now. So where you can pre-plan, so you can say to your team member, okay, you have 2 hours in the month or 3 hours in the month to create the content, and then get it scheduled out for the month. So you can book it in for, Monday, Wednesday and Friday, or whatever you choose to do. The only time on a daily basis is someone monitoring, just to make sure if there's any comments that come through, because that's a big thing. If anyone's communicating back, and also any negative things like that just needs to be monitored. And also social media, there is that level of engagement. So that can be a 15-minute a day. So yeah, definitely your team needs to get involved. But the thing is with your team is they need to first be allocated as a part of their roster and their time management, that they're given time to work on their social media or your digital strategies. It's not necessarily an afterthought. So given that time within their workflow, and secondly, make sure that they have been trained adequately on policies, procedures, how to do it, and it's in line with your communications plan. So that is something that all once again comes back to this beautiful document that is the marketing plan. So
and it does, and I think that's the key message that come out of this is that, you know, we're talking here about technology platforms, we're talking here about digital communication platforms for your customers, current and future, and you're not always going to get it right, but you've got to make sure that it's consistent. And I think if I give the example I use is that, this particular podcast I market across a couple of different digital platforms, and I've got it down to the point where I've got a basic template, which is a picture or a short vid with a caption line, with a single paragraph comment, and if you want to know more, here's the link to, or here's where you find the link to. So again, I can replicate that across 3 or 4 different platforms. I'm not creating 3 or 4 different messages. I'm just making sure that what I've got, when it goes on those 3 or 4 different platforms, I then go and check it on my smartphone, I go and check it on my iPad, I go and check it on a computer, because you want to make sure that it actually looks the way you want your audience to see it. So that's just as important. So again, we've rated it to another level of technology. Pharmacist life, I think, and Teams was hard enough as is, and we've actually just raised it a little bit more because it's a new age, isn't it?
Yeah, and the beauty of some programs that we have, some software available, that they help you with making sure that it's, so when you create, for example, if you want to do a post, you can post it to multiple different mediums, and then when you're in their scheduling,
excellent,
you can then tweak it to make sure that it's suitable for LinkedIn, it's suitable for Instagram, whatever channel that you're choosing to do, you can tweak it accordingly. And then within Facebook, it's not just a post, there's a video, or if you want to do a reel, and that's the same with Instagram. So the scheduling software that's available, and that's just constantly evolving daily, because social media is so powerful. And the introduction of video with TikTok, I haven't even brought up TikTok yet, but video, like all those types of things, scheduling software, there is a lot of automation which will help with your day-to-day management of your marketing. It's just knowing how to do it and getting the right content and system in place. But once you got the system, it just becomes a part of your your routine within the pharmacy for your team, and a part of their roles and responsibilities.
Yeah. And to a point, from a business owner's perspective, don't do this almost at your own peril, because if you're not keeping up with the latest communications with your customers, if you're not putting your message out there, then you could pretty much rest assured that someone else is. And even if you're a pharmacy business in a remote community, don't think that your customers don't have access to pharmacy products outside of your town, because they absolutely do. And most customers will try and shop locally as much as they can. But if you're not telling them that you can do this, and when I search for the nappy rash and a mainstream pharmacy group ad comes up, then and I can order that online and I can have it delivered in a couple of days, then it's at your own peril that you actually haven't at least got your own messaging out there, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely take control of the traffic into your pharmacy. Like, be bold. You guys are like one of the most trusted professions, like within, I'm not sure exactly where, I know you're up there with doctors, and just, utilize that reputation and stuff. Don't be afraid to communicate how you add value to your customers. Definitely. Even now, being within the industry, and just simple things of when I'm getting your flu jab, so many of people that I know are still making appointments to, and booking well in advance to go, and they don't, to their doctors, when they don't even know their local pharmacy does it, and you can do it straight away and go in that day, within that hour. So I just think, utilize it, and you should always be 2 steps ahead with that type of thing. And I just think it's really, really important to keep up. And also, just as the market evolves, with the big box discounters and everything, Amazon and stuff coming in, you really have to you cannot rely on solely people walking in, stumbling across your pharmacy and walking in. Use digital comms to your advantage.
Yeah. Now, Sarah, I did say prior to starting our episode today that you weren't going to realise how quickly 30 minutes was going to go, and we've done it. But
yes.
Before we wrap up, is there anything on your list that we haven't discussed or covered off?
No, I think the biggest thing is the takeaway from you guys is how to get your team involved in your marketing. and working on your marketing plan that includes both digital and also traditional marketing. And if you need any guidance, it's not just me now within our marketing team. We've also got the lovely Renee, who is so amazing, especially in the social media space and the creative. So if you're thinking, okay, content, like I have no idea what to do, she is a gun. She's amazing. So between the two of us, you've got the double whammy of us, but then also the ability to work with our team of accountants where, you know, ultimately our whole goal for marketing for us is increasing your customer and script numbers, which ties in well with our KPI reporting on the other side of peak. So that's my elevator pitch. Like you said, Scott, you have we'll have my details in the show notes, but yeah, jump onto our website and reach out to us. We'll be happy to talk to you.
Yeah, excellent. Sarah, that's been great to chat today. For our first time to ever chat, I've really enjoyed that. And
thank you. I enjoyed it too.
in the scheme of things, I won't be surprised if you and Peak Strategies don't get a little bit of contact from pharmacy businesses about how you can help them. So thanks for your time today.
Oh, thanks, Scott. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening today. Pharmacy View is a technology-focused podcast provided by Melbourne-based business Arian Technologies and Shopfront Solutions. Over the podcast series, our guests include pharmacists, retail managers, wholesalers, suppliers, and industry technology partners. If you would like further information on our podcast series or to participate in one of our episodes, feel free to send me a message or touch base through the Pharmacy View website, pharmacyview.com.au.